iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Everybody, it's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. So let's get it started and let's talk about some fantasy baseball. So I have some things I want to talk about here. Okay? Some things I want to discuss. First of all, I want to talk about trading. Okay? I want to talk about trading for a second. And then we'll get to last night's games, and then we'll get to tonight's DFS action. You know, we'll move around the diamond if we will. So I'm not going to tell you who, because you might know this guy. But there was somebody in my league yesterday who sends out an email and basically says, I'm open to do a 2-for-1. And this guy was offering Chris Bryant. Okay? He's offering Chris Bryant. Now, you know that I have some love for Chris Bryant. Who doesn't have love for Chris Bryant? Right? I mean, seriously, who doesn't have love for Chris Bryant? Now, is he as amazing this year as I thought he'd be? No, but he's still hitting 300, right? 6 home runs, 4 stolen bases, so still 25. There's no doubt this guy's on the 35 home run, 100 RBI, 15 stolen base trajectory. Okay? But here's my bigger question. I sent this guy 2 different trade offers, which I thought were reasonable. One was, I think, more reasonable than another. So I gave him a pitcher and hitter that I wanted to move. He said he didn't want that pitcher that I offered, even though it was a fair deal. He wanted another pitcher, but I offered a lesser hitter, right, than the original deal, right? Because I didn't want to give him a better pitcher than a better hitter. I wouldn't do that. The question is this. Are you ever going to get a deal you like for Chris Bryant? Seriously, are you ever going to get a deal for Chris Bryant that makes you happy? I don't see it. I really don't see it. I'm trying to decide what I would take. I mean, because if I had Chris Bryant right now, I would need a whole lot to move him. So let's just see. What starting pitchers would I take? Do I want Verlander? Carrasco? I mean, I'm not going to get Kershaw or Scherzer, right, and another player. So who am I going to get? Tanaka? Chris Archer. Chris Archer's fair. Maybe Carlos Martinez? That's who the guy wanted from me? Right, but what kind of hitter am I going to give you with that? Right? What kind of hitter am I going to give you with that? Am I going to give you Carlos Martinez and Miguel Sano? No. That's insano. That's not going to happen. So, am I going to give him Kendrys Morales? Sure. Carlos Martinez and Kendrys Morales. But if you had Chris Bryant, would you take that? No. So, let me teach you a trick about trading. Me going to you gets you a better offer than you coming to me. When you come to me, it's not good because I know you want to move him and I'm never going to give you 100%. At the same time, if I come to you, you know I want him, I may give you more. Now, what this guy did, which is very good, was he put out an email to the league. He said, hey, Chris Bryant is up. I'm open to moving him. Give me your best offers. That's good. I like that. Right? Because now I know that I have a shot at Chris Bryant and he's just not talking to his friends. Right? Because that's what people do. How about another trade offer I got recently? So there's a guy who's quote-unquote dumping in one of my leagues, which I don't believe for a second because the guy's only 20 points out. But he goes, I'm looking for next year players. Okay. But when I said to him, who do you want? He said he liked Paul Goldschmidt, Miguel Sano, and A.J. Pollock. So here's the question. Here's the question I have. Why would I ever give up Paul Goldschmidt or A.J. Pollock? I mean, Paul Goldschmidt right now is hitting .316. He has more stolen bases than home runs, which tells you something that's amazing, right? And A.J. Pollock is arguably one of the top guys in baseball, not only for stolen bases, but for anything. Guy's got 11 stolen bases, hitting .297. Aren't I in the place I am because of A.J. Pollock and Paul Goldschmidt? Seriously. What do you think I'm going to do? So if I give you A.J. Pollock or Paul Goldschmidt, you know what you're going to have to give me? Half your team. Because otherwise, why would I do it? See, people have to be reasonable in trades. And I find it's probably my biggest turnoff in fantasy leagues. Now, when I was a younger Dr. Roto, a resident, if you will, or an intern, I like trading. I do. I did. That's a better word. I did, not I do. I did. I liked the bonds that you made with people in the league. You called guys up on the phone. Hey, so-and-so, I haven't spoken to you in a long time. What's going on? How's the wife? How's the kids? Blah, 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 blah. I used to, shoot the crap with them for a few, close to an hour. We'd hash out a deal on the phone. And we'd come to some mutual agreement. Or we wouldn't, but at least I would have felt that I knew what this guy was willing to give or not give, right? Nowadays, everything is done by email. Who has an hour? I mean, seriously, who has an hour to talk on the phone anymore? If you do, you're a better guy than I am, because I don't have an hour. I got a wife, I got 2 kids, I got work to do. Where's my time to shoot the crap for an hour? Secondly, when there's trades to be had, you want Paul Goldschmidt from me? I got to take 5 guys from your team. 5. Seriously. Why? Because Paul Goldschmidt is one of my top 2 players. So, aren't we better off being in leagues where there's no trading? Such as the Fantasy Football World Championships, the online championship. Isn't that better? Because trades can ruin a league. Absolutely 100% trades can ruin a league. We know this. Somebody's going to make a deal. Now, somebody's going to make a deal. This guy's going to get one of those good players for some of these guys he wants. Somebody's going to trade Chris Bryant. Somebody's going to make the deal. But unless it's a fair deal, if he makes a bad deal, my next deal better be worse. It's going to be worse. Do you understand? Because if he makes a bad deal, I got to go make a really bad deal with somebody else. I got to bend that guy over. Because I can't make a fair deal anymore. Right? The minute, it's like a domino effect. So-and-so makes a bad trade. Well, I got to make a really bad trade because I got to get back more than what you got. And then it just spirals into awfulness, if that's even a word. And that's why trading leagues bother me. Because I don't know how many really good trades there are. Think about this. Take a look at all the trades over the course of the year in your league. How many trades are actually really fair? Now, I'll tell you this. In Scout, in our dynasty leagues, we have a trade calculator. You're able to put in the trade calculator and say, hey, right? I'm putting this in, and then you can look at it and say, well, that seems to be fair. NFL teams do that. I don't know if I always agree with their trade calculator, but they have one. You know what the trade calculator is in your leagues? The idiot you're trading with, his IQ, that's your trade calculator. If he's not too bright, you make a good trade. If he's a genius, you're not getting a great offer. So there you have it. All right, I want to talk about something that happened last night to a guy who tweeted me earlier. So let me see if I can find this tweet for you because I thought, oh, this is it. Okay, here we go. This guy was very upset, and maybe rightfully so. Okay? So this was the Grand Salami yesterday. It was a $44 entry fee. And the guy who won had Trevor Cahill, Grandal, Votto, Schimpf, Giorgio, Chris Taylor, oh my God, Bryce Harper, Puig, and I'm sure I'm missing a guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't see the last guy. And my guy here had Cahill, Grandal, Schimpf, Matt Holliday, and then he had Yonder Alonso and Chris Davis. Okay? And then he writes, at Dr. Roto, I'm starting to think if you're not going to play 10-plus lineups, don't waste your money in a GPP. You know, there's something to be said for that. I'm not going to lie. He's not wrong. The more lineups you have, the more permutations you can have. Truth be told, at $44 a pop, I'm not playing 10 lineups. That'd be a surefire way of getting Mrs. Roto's anger up. I don't need that in my life. Right? I don't need that. But let's get back to my other point. Was playing Alonso and Chris Davis a bad idea? No. Chris Davis went 0 for 4 last night with 4 strikeouts. But he was playing against Ricky Nolasco, who's not a very good pitcher. Yonder Alonso has been arguably the hottest hitter in the American League. Corey Seager left the game early. And this guy also had Justin Turner, who didn't do that much. So he had the wrong Dodgers and the wrong A's. But the Dodgers put up 12 runs. If he had Chris Taylor, if he had Jock Peterson, if he had Puig, he'd be right where he was. And he wasn't wrong with playing the A's, just didn't turn out to be right. Right? Does that make sense? He wasn't wrong. And I said to him, I go, you're not wrong. Alonso and Davis were good plays. I had them, but I pivoted in the last second. Why did I pivot? Because I will never roster A's again. I hate the A's. Hate them. I may like them in life, but not for fantasy purposes. Because whenever I play Chris Davis, he goes like 0 for 4. Whenever I don't play Chris Davis, 3 for 4 and 2 home runs. I'm like, why did I pick the wrong night to play Chris Davis? Now, truth be told, if I had 20 lineups, I probably put Chris Davis in 2. But why do I play Chris Davis? Because Tommy G once always said, he once said it, and he's right, you want guys who could double down. You want guys with 2 home run capability. And for sure, Chris Davis is that kind of guy. Now, Alonso isn't, but let's look at the winning team. Grandal, home run. Votto could hit a home run. Schimpf for sure. Jorko. Chris Taylor, maybe not. Bryce Harper, Puig. He had guys who hit home runs. 1, 2, 3, 4. He had at least 4 home runs last night. He put up 251 points. This guy didn't do anything wrong here. He just had the wrong Dodgers. He had Turner instead of Puig. He had Seager instead of Taylor. And then he had Alonso and Davis. So my point to you is this. Never confuse the results with the decision. This was not the wrong decision to have made. It just didn't work out right. I know that's not what you want to hear. I know that doesn't make you feel better. But I'm trying to. I'm trying to make you feel better. I really am. Because we can't always get it right. But I will say this. I did go to Scouts Optimizer last night. And Scouts Optimizer was not optimizing Chris Davis. And it wasn't optimizing Yonder Alonso. It did optimize Joey Votto. And it actually did like Ryan Shrimp. Didn't have Chris Taylor anywhere, but it did have Votto. And it did have Shrimp. And it did have Cahill, by the way. So, does the optimizer work? I ask you. Yes, it does. When I went to the optimizer yesterday, it started me out with 2 players. Player 1, Gary Sanchez. Player 2, Joey Votto. How'd that work out for me? Quite well, I might add. Quite well. But I think this guy does raise an interesting point. When you play in GPPs, you need to do it in 2 ways. 1, multiple entry. The more entries you have, the more chance you have of winning. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. Secondly, pay more to have fewer people in your league. So this one is really easy. One moment, please. Please hold. Please continue to hold. Thank you for holding. So here's baseball. If you were willing to pay $888 tonight, you could be in a league with 556 people, and the winner is going to get $100K. Is there any doubt in your mind that Tommy G will be in this league tonight? There's none in my mind. None. $888 to compete, only 556 people, and somebody's winning $100,000. So their $888 entry will pay them $100,000. Now in $4 in a Dream, 44,000 people will play. 44,000 people will play. And first place will get $30K. Right? Big difference. How about this next one, the Jumbo Rally? 13,000 people will play. $7 entry. So for an extra $3, you cut your opponents from 44,000 to 13, right? But you make a lot less money, right? Because there's only 77,000 in the pot versus 150. How about the $30 Grand Slam? $125 people, $25,000 first place. That to me is probably the best one. The Grand Slam at $30, that's a good wheelhouse spot because the winner there gets 25K. And you're only competing with 4,900 people, which is less than, of course, the 13,000 people. Right? And that one you're only getting 15,000. So I know I'm paying more, but I'm only with 4,900 people. But the Grand Slam gets some really good teams in there. And here's the interesting thing. It's $12.40 and the Grand Slam is already half booked. Don't you think it's going to be totally booked in another 2 or 3 hours? Because people look for that spot, right? They look to go in that spot because that's the right wheelhouse. Because who wants to pay $888? $888 gets you an issue with your wife. So be a smart player, be a clever player, be a winner. Join scoutfantasy.com, enter the promo code ROTO, that's ROTO, pay for 1 month, get 2 more for free. Get access to our articles, get access to our optimizer. Get access to the best information that can help you be my newest rich friend. That's what I want. I want a rich friend, and I want it to be you. But right now it's time to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. Talked a little bit about trading in your leagues today. I hope that helped. We talked a little about DFS, looking for the right contest to enter, and never confuse the result with a decision. You did the right thing. All right, guys, wishing you a great day. Be well. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!